And welcome back to another video. So today I thought I'd kind of take a turn from the usual, as it were, and I kind of wanted to talk about something that is in season. And for those of you who are Apple fans, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's that time of the year when Apple begins to show off what they've been working on, to release the developer betas of iOS, watchOS, tvOS, and of course macOS. So I kind of wanted to talk about some stuff that I saw when I was doing my research, because I always like to install these betas to mess around with them, because I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things to do in the month of June. Apple has announced that WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference, should be online this year. Entirely online, it'll be the 22nd of June. Now, WWDC, I believe, typically kicks off the first update drops. Not updates, but like betas. And they're dropped immediately on that day. I believe at least. At least this year, I saw somewhere, I forget where I would say if I knew, they'll be dropped the 22nd of June, or at least the iOS one. But I would assume, to keep everything even, all the other betas will be pushed on that same day, unless, of course, something were to go wrong in one of them. Now, the interesting thing is that I saw this video by iUpdate, and it was a really interesting video, so I'm going to leave the link to the video in the description. Totally check it out. I'm just going to really be summarizing it. He'll go into details here. Basically, iOS 14 will be a quote-unquote S upgrade. Now, what does this mean? If you're someone who has experienced anything Apple before, you'll realize what this is referring to almost instantaneously. S is for stability, I believe, or at least that's what I like to think. Because, speaking in stability, all the S upgrades are typically ones to make everything more stable. You know, less of a feature upgrade, but more of just a stability upgrade, something to make sure that everything stays stable. Really interesting graph in this video by iUpdate, and it's really interesting to me because if you look, iOS 14, because if you look, iOS 13 needed 8 bug updates, 8 software patches within the first 2 months, which is more than any other OS all the way back to iOS 7. Which means, theoretically, if you look, what happened here? iOS 9 had less bugs, but then iOS 10 had a couple more, and then 11 had even more, and then iOS 12 had like 2. So, what does that mean? That means that we can already go through some probability predictions and just, you know, mentally say, well, most likely iOS 14 will just be a kind of stability update, which kind of makes sense because we've already added all these features in iOS 13. Now we got to take a break and make sure that everything's stable, and then iOS 15 will really be the big one. So as he says in the description, there are some strong indicators that iOS 14 will be an S upgrade. There will be some flagship features like always, but some big ones will likely be pushed back to iOS 15. And again, this makes perfect sense because look how buggy iOS 13 was. Now, we're gonna just reduce the bugs a little bit and then we'll get back to it. So then, where is all of Apple's development time going to? tvOS? Still pretty modern. watchOS is pretty new too. I think, and I shouldn't say I think because I didn't start this. iUpdate says in this video, maybe macOS is going to get an update. And you know, I would agree for 2 reasons, and these are the reasons that he cited too. And the first reason, of course, would be that the Macs are switching to ARM processors. So, with all of these Macs, these new ones having ARM processors, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, Homebrew is completely destroyed, unless someone does something about it, which I'm sure they will. Think about this for a second. The software could see a little bit of an update after this major change, because we already have to add all the features into, you know, the kernel so that it supports ARM processors rather than just x86 64 instruction, and I'm pretty sure PowerPC is like long gone now. But why not add some more features while we're at it? Because the second reason is it's kind of just been left dormant for a couple of releases now. Of course, we've had things like Sidecar, etc., but I think it's time that macOS had a makeover. And so that, I think, is what is going to happen. I like to do a lot of my programming on my Mac platform. One, because if I write an iOS app, I can only write that on Mac. And two, because it's just much nicer for something like that. I record, edit, and upload videos on this Windows PC, which is custom built by me. And I also do all my gaming on this Windows PC. I think that's an obvious choice. So there are powerful powerhouses on both ends of here, and I use both of them on a daily basis. So for me, this is exciting because I've been waiting to see macOS change, and I can't wait for iOS to change, for one thing, for that incoming call screen to be changed to the little upper third kind of thing where it just kind of pops down like a notification, a little bit bigger, would be incredible. I want to see all of that, but we're due for an update in macOS too. So this is all prediction. Whether it happens or not is like beyond me, obviously. Whether it happens or not is something that I can't predict 100%, but with this kind of sort of evidence, we can make what I update here calls a wild card prediction. And I think that's a really interesting way to put it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please click like, click subscribe, hit that bell, and get notified. Leave a comment and let me know what you want to see in the future, and apart from that, I'll see you later. Goodbye!